This is the Awkward Side Hug. I'm Brian. Those are my two hosts. I don't know where they're at on the screen.
We're your two hosts.
Those are my two hosts, Lex and Steven. Yeah.
And dude, Brian is wearing his shirt like a pimp right now too.
Yeah, for those of you that are listening to the audio version, Brian's got a Rams hoodie on with no undershirt, so it's a sight. It's a sight to see.
Zip down to the midsection.
The biggest pimp I know though is William Hung, so hopefully that's a segue.
A segue.
This is the Awkward Side Hug.
Hola. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing okay. I want to say it's hard to focus on you guys and then push the buttons here for the music and the voiceovers and everything. So
yeah,
I appreciate you guys cutting me some slack.
It's hard to focus on anything with Brian's chest out, man. I'm just like keep getting distracted.
I say worst case scenario, just push it and we'll adapt.
All right, I like to hear that.
Yeah.
Speaking of adapting, the NFL is having a hard time adapting to COVID.
What's been going on? Actually, I haven't.
So apparently there was like 70-something false positives.
Yeah, so I think it was 4 or 5 different teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they all came from the same lab in New Jersey.
Right.
So all these false tests from New Jersey.
Would you know if all the tests go to, is it based on location? Like do all like the NFC East and AFC East go to Philadelphia or New Jersey or something, and then the West Coast teams have their own lab, or how do you know?
That's a great question. I don't know. I didn't look into that to see where teams are sending their tests. I'm sure there's like some sort of contract with the testing, lab and the NFL.
You said these are false negatives, so they're
false positives.
False positives.
So it's saying that like these people have it, and then
they don't.
Yeah.
So these people have been away from training camp,
and
etc. So that's why it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
But you gotta I guess like take your precautions, right? If you thought they were positive, then I guess the NFL teams did the right thing by not having them there. But it sucks for the teams that didn't have these players practicing.
Well, yeah, some of the teams I think postponed practices or moved them to a later time. So. And
keep in mind, like, there's no preseason. So the season starts, and it's kind of like college football. So, like, when the season starts, And players are getting cut just because of how practice is going and not how preseason games are going. So,
yeah.
I watched the first episode of Hard Knocks, so it was I haven't watched the second one yet, but.
Is it Rams again?
It's the Rams and Chargers.
Nice. Oh, and the Chargers. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Hard Knocks is dope. Dude, I think that's why I love Jeff Fisher so much, because of the original Rams Hard Knocks. Jeff Fisher. What that was his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, coach.
Captain Mediocre.
Yeah, Captain Mediocre. Dude, when he called
Nick Foles.
Yeah, on the phone, he was like, "Hey, Nick," he's like, "How's your time in LA? You enjoying you enjoying vacation? Yeah. Oh, you got the family out and everything, blah blah."
So
super short conversation. He's like, "Well, I hate to break to you, but we're gonna have to let you go." And it was like, what?
So like, you could tell Jeff Fisher was a little annoyed, or not annoyed, but like it was a move he probably didn't want to make or have a call he didn't want to have to do, because he precautioned Nick Foles with like, "Hey, so have you moved to LA yet?" Because this is the first season they're going to be in LA from St. Louis, and Nick Foles was on the St. Louis team. So he's like, "Hey, have you moved to LA yet?" Like, and then, well, we're gonna have to let you go.
Dude, it was wild. He went from like 0 to 100 though. It was so crazy.
Can I go on a minor tangent real quick?
Of course.
That's a little off topic.
This is your platform.
Today, the 76ers fired Brett Brown.
Right.
And going back to the Jeff Fisher thing even though Sean McVay took over and he's doing a lot better of a job, I was actually against the Jeff Fisher firing at the time, as I do feel like there's a lot that goes into these teams and these situations that are not in the coach's control.
Mhm.
And in this case, in the Brett Brown situation, I don't think he should have been fired. He stuck around through that whole process, ruined his head coaching record for years, and Ben Simmons gets injured. Joel Embiid could barely play half a season, it feels like at times. Like, nobody stays healthy. They're not bringing in pieces to help those two players even develop. And Brett Brown got let go. I understand why he got let go. If you get swept in the playoffs when you still have an elite player, I get why you do get fired. But I'm against it. I
You,
just
you
thought,
think he should at least have gotten one more year
like, I believe, I don't know how many more years he had on
on his contract?
but let the contract run out. Like, you should at least allow your two stars plus trying to bring in another at least decent piece, finish up this process or whatever, and then figure things out after that.
Do you think Embiid trusted the process?
Not necessarily. But if we want to get back to the NFL, I don't know if you guys had any other thoughts on that, but that was just my little off-topic thing. How do you guys feel about Goodell's comments about Cap today? Or was it? It was over the weekend, I believe.
I think it was yesterday, or it could have been today. I'm not too sure, because it's a 2-part episode. But I watched, the first part of the episode, and I don't know. It's interesting to hear Goodell's background, especially like his dad. I didn't know that about his dad, and to see the way that they handled the Cap situation, and then how it's kind of again 180'd into the other direction, and like, oh, like we should have listened to him, and we.
Do you think that's a white person cop-out answer?
Yeah, it's gonna sound bad, but yes.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like when everything was a little bit more fresh back in May and June, it was a legit answer. But now I feel like we're getting to the point where now it's becoming a cop-out answer.
Yeah.
Of like, well, I wish I knew better then, but now I know better now. It's like Black Lives Matter still mattered then as they do now. So, so but the thing is, like, when you've already created a reputation for yourself and you are somewhat trying to fix it, I kind of see Goodell in that light of, like, at least he's not still flat out ignoring it, because there's still people still flat out ignoring it, but the damage I feel like has been done in terms of the Kaepernick situation.
Do you think it finally got to Goodell, his public image, or at least what the public portrayed him as, the bad guy? Do you think that got to him, and that's why he's trying to right his wrongs?
I believe so. I'll admit, like, I understand he's basically just a face for the owners, and I'm sure the owners were in his. They signed his paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was just doing. I honestly believe, I don't know Goodell personally, but I do personally believe that if it was up to him, Kaepernick maybe wouldn't have been allowed back in the league a long time ago.
Right.
But at the same time, I think he was just doing his job. But then it got to a certain point where doing your job is not okay anymore, and you got to actually take a stance on these issues.
Right. Which, again, like the whole background of his dad and his father opposing the Vietnam War when it wasn't the cool thing to do, and so like this is his, speaking out. Yeah, speaking out against something that might not be the most popular opinion at this current, world climate. So,
do you like Goodell as a commissioner?
I like the memes. Yeah.
Like, if you were to rank, I would say baseball,
even
football,
says he
and
likes him as a
basketball.
friend.
What are the three best? What's the best commissioner to worst commissioner?
NBA
is the best.
NFL. Yeah, from best to worst. NBA, NFL, NHL, then MLB.
Well, okay, I don't know the NHL one, so I wasn't gonna put them in my rankings.
Oh, okay, I thought you wanted me to rank the pro sports.
I just said the top three.
I thought you wanted me to answer your question.
Sasha's fingers.
My bad.
Yeah,
sorry.
Sasha's fingers.
What about you, Lex?
What? Yeah, I don't know much about the NHL, but to be honest, I would agree with Stevens. Actually, I think the NBA commish is the best. Then it goes Goodell. I personally don't like his track record, but at the very least, for whatever reason, whether he's feeling pressure or whether he really does feel this way, who knows? Only who knows, and the people around him. But at the least at the end of his track record now. Like recently, he's trending some more progressive, positive ways. But yeah, MLB's dude, that guy is just he's dropped.
Yeah, obviously Adam Silver is the best.
Mhm.
Uh,
Since day one.
if you were to ask me 2 years, like maybe even a year ago or 2 years ago, I would maybe think it's like it's a lot closer than it is now. But like, I was not a fan of how Goodell sometimes put legal issues into the NFL's hands, and not like some players would be acquitted, some players would say there's no evidence of blah blah blah, but just because there was a public article about certain things, players still got suspended, and maybe that's a selfish reason because a Zeke. Uh, uh, but then with Manfred recently saying stuff like when players got COVID and stuff like that, like kind of and telling teams just to deal with it, kind of thing, or it's just gonna happen. This is what we knew it was gonna happen. And it was like it was kind of like that's not really how commissioners should handle that, right?
or
Like,
punishing
It is what
people
it is.
making faces at the Astros way harder than the Astros themselves for what they did.
right.
Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, okay.
I think they dropped the ball really hard on domestic violence. The NFL.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
exactly.
And I do believe they overcompensated, which you have to do at that point. But I do feel like in certain circumstances, if the legal system said there's not a case here, the NFL as an organization shouldn't take that role either.
Right.
I'm not saying the court system or the justice system is good, but I don't feel like the NFL should act like the law at that point. And
Okay, so wait, well, what's the story behind the jacket though? I have to ask because like every time I look up, I kind of like smile. Is it hot there? Is the AC out?
No, it's a very comfortable shirt. I I recently I've had it for a while, but I couldn't fit in it, and then I've recently been putting it on. It's very comfortable. It feels good on my skin,
Yeah.
and so like yeah, I probably don't have to have a zip like this, but
It's just yeah. I gotta yeah. I gotta admit, every time I look up, I just smile.
For a second, I thought you were reading your book there because you're just looking down at the table.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I'm literally having to do homework as we record the podcast, man. Master's level is no joke. You start next week, right?
I start
Or-
today, actually.
Today.
Yeah.
Do you have like assignments and stuff in the syllabus and
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah. I'm ahead of the game, baby. I started like
Yeah.
last week, so.
You already said you got it last week too. I remember. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Yeah, so you're good.
yeah, I just gotta stay on top of it.
Yeah,
I have a kid, so I have to really be tactical with my time.
Mhm.
So.
And you just have those like added like organizational skills because of it, I'm sure. Just because who you are as a person, but with a kid on top of it, you're like, okay, I have to do all this stuff like at this hour of the day or at this early point in the week and stuff like that.
I have to train my son not to bother me during my study time, you know. He's 9 months, but he's got to understand, you know, when I'm reading, you can't bug me.
Yeah.
My advice to you guys literally is, I'm not saying you guys have to spend the whole 24 hours this way, but give yourself a whole 24-hour day. Usually it's probably on a weekend, but like, and just say that day I need to get everything done. Like, if that means you don't play video games, but the thing is also, you guys, I'm sure, can manage your own time. Play video games at a certain time at that time, but like, make sure you get your shit done. If it says it's due at 11 p.m., you have it till 11 p.m. Like, I'm sure you guys know this stuff already, but like,
what are you, my wife telling me not to play video games? Or what?
I'm just saying, like, because there was some tough decisions I had to make when I was doing mine. So,
because I'm sure you wanted to play video games too during your master's program, but you're even like, man. And sometimes you're like, screw it, like writer's block. I'll just play a couple.
I'm not gonna lie to you, it feels really weird having weekends because like when you go to school and you work, it's 7 days a week, and I'll admit, like,
I'm sure with that's what Steven's coming out of right now. Is that now you're having to work the school schedule back in there?
It's been 7 days a week for the last 9 months. So.
Oh
with the kiddo. I was gonna say like also like I'll admit from my end, like I don't miss doing the homework, I don't miss the class sessions and stuff like that, but I do miss like working towards something that is gonna that I can be proud of, I guess. I don't know how else to put that.
After I read the syllabus,
doing something stuff. What?
After I read the syllabus, I was this close to just saying, fuck it, I don't need a master's degree,
dude. So okay,
like,
I had these past 2 months off from school, and I was able to focus on work. I'm like, dude, I'm recharged. This is like the biggest break I've had in these 4.5 years, like just back to back to back school, ready to go, recharged for the new semester. So I'm like recharged for like, a bachelor's degree semester. But when I saw the first class syllabus, I was like, okay, not bad. It's manageable. I could tell there's levels. It's the next level now. The punishments are harsher on the master's level. But dude, my second class today, when I saw all that, I instantly felt anxiety. And I tried reading it. We have like a 34-page article, and it's graduate
syllabus.
Yeah,
Like,
imagine. I had trouble getting through the syllabus. Dude, I had to reread the first page and a half multiple times, and I'm in a bad way right now. It's like I don't know how I'm gonna do it. So
Well,
I just have to really.
speaking of time management and trying to fit a bunch of stuff in your schedule, including this podcast, we're gonna have to fit a fantasy football draft coming up here pretty soon. Are you guys excited about the Awkward Side Hug Fantasy Football League?
Yes,
Dude,
the inaugural season of the Ash Fantasy Football.
So we'll probably get more details about this, but like for people who are getting this far into the episode and care about it, it's going to be free, and we're going to crown a champion. I'm pretty sure we'll figure out what happens to the last 4 seeded teams. And I've been very clear. I want to make this unique because I don't want people copying and pasting from other leagues. I want this to be a unique experience without ruining the integrity of fantasy football. We don't plan to make it too weird, but I want to add.
But it has to be awkward.
It has to be awkward, and it has to add at least a different element that you should not be expecting if you were to just join your company or your friend's league.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's 2 QBs. I don't know if that's having a super flex. I don't know if that's taking your defense away and adding defensive positions. I don't know. I have not. We were going to have to figure this out together, but I'm really excited for this.
But the first thing we need is for you, the viewers, to sign up.
As of this point, I believe we have 3 spots.
Yes.
4 spots. 3 spots or 4 spots?
3 spots right now.
Well, we'll advertise 3.
Okay, we have 3 spots left.
We got like 10.
It's just like a marketing tactic.
No, but
Lex hasn't confirmed yet, or
we really do have 3.
Secretly, I'm like, we have 3 spots taken.
3, and is that going to put us at 12, right?
That should put us at 12. If we get some pretty cool people,
might do 14.
Might do 14.
Yeah.
If we want to make it really hard, we'll do 27.
I mean, if you're looking for, a fun fantasy football league where winning is everything, talking smack to total strangers that you don't know. I mean, like this is the league for you.
We're gonna put weekly updates on our Instagram page. Maybe we'll do some shows recapping stuff. We're not quite sure what our schedules are gonna look like because these guys get to master's programs and stuff like that, but. And we'll
I'll make the time.
Honest.
Yeah, it goes Ash Fantasy Football Masters.
Then my kid or what?
My kid.
By the way, just in case people get this far in the episode, because I'm sure we'll tell this to people who are actually going to join the league. I'm planning September 5th weekend. Either the Friday, Saturday, or Sunday that we're going to hold this draft. And I'm thinking we're going to do it online. So if you just want to do it online and not participate, that's fine. But we're also, I think we're going to do a Zoom thing on the side and just chat it up. And maybe we'll post that. Maybe that'll be that week's episode.
And this is here. Now, here's the thing. We have people coming in from multiple leagues, right? So some people, like a handful of people from a certain league, a handful of people from a different league, some people who've won their own leagues, right? And like from like all over Southern California is what it looks like from this list that I've had so far. And bro, this is gonna be a stacked year for our first year doing this. And I'm super hyped. And I was even telling Brian earlier, there's gonna be a good handful of really good fantasy football players who are gonna look bad this year because of how stacked the league is gonna be. So
I'm gonna tell you this though. The XFL league we started did not work. The MLS league we started did not work. COVID's going to hit this NFL season, and this league's not going to finish.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's my prediction.
We have the Ash curse. It was the freaking XFL because like the website got COVID before COVID was a thing, and it was MLS, the
And
actual
we're
actual COVID.
we were technically going to have like an affiliated outsourced baseball league that we were going to cover that we're all in as well, but
And
Yeah.
that got
obviously that
COVID
didn't
as well.
yeah.
yeah, and we literally
So-
did the draft and everything.
I
think
wasted 2.5 hours of my life. So,
yeah.
and I know
So,
nothing about baseball. I was literally just like, all right, this guy.
Yeah. The commission is embezzling the half the people who paid right now on a trip to like on a trip to Chino Hills or something like a park. Throwing a barbecue.
He's gonna take our 12th spot in the Ash League.
Dude, imagine. That'd be wild.
Nothing.
Dude.
my bad. I was trying to think of a segue for our next topic.
You were too caught up with your zipper down there. So.
Hey, Brand, your zipper down?
Our next topic is, I mean, how do you handle stress during fantasy football and your mental health?
I do not know. Okay,
That's not the actual question.
I know, but I want to throw this out there before we segue in. Clippers in the playoffs and and fantasy football stress me the hell out.
Yep.
But when these things go out in your favor, they're just mood changers too. Like I'm sure Laker fans just watched the Blazers lose by like 87 points to the Lakers right now. I'm sure everyone's in a damn good mood. Me on the other hand, I've been depressed for 48 hours. Fantasy football every Sunday though, it's just tense, and I feel tense for 12 hours of the day. And do you think I guess this is a good segue, is like, do you think I do get depressed, but I don't think it's real depression. But how has
make believe
men's mental health how's the perspective of men's mental health changed throughout your guys' lifetime? Because we kind of found a fun way to segue it, but this is actually a very serious topic.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's a very serious topic. When I was young, though, I would sound like the bad guy. Real quick before I let Lex go ahead and take this one first. When I was younger, I didn't believe in depression.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't think so either.
I just thought people just made it up.
That's why Steven says they got the pretend sad, or what?
Yeah, like what?
Why don't you just be happy?
What can make you sad? Like, consecutive days, over and over again that you can't get over. But I think as an adult, I understand it a little more.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, no, yeah, literally the same exact stance. Growing up, I also just thought, like, I would never really call it out publicly, or like I would just be like, let them do them. I'll let them handle their own thing. So I never really called anything out like that or voiced my opinion on it. But yeah, like my personal opinion growing up would be like, oh, that's kind of weird. Why do people get sad like that? Like depression is just sadness. And same thing as an adult. I think the first time I ever got depression was around when I was like 24 years old or something like that. And it hit super hard for the weirdest, dumbest reason too. It was so weird. Like, and then I've only had it like a few times since, and it's crazy, man, because it doesn't discriminate. You you don't have to have a traumatic experience in your life to experience it. I know that could trigger it sometimes, but like everything could be going perfect in life, and there's just some sort of internal trigger that it's like a medical thing. It's nuts.
It's knuckin' futs.
I do feel like, I don't know if we're going to be the last generation, but we were one of those generations that were still taught at a very young age that you don't cry. You kind of had to hide your feelings and stuff like we've seen our fathers do and stuff like that, and our grandfathers and stuff like that. But yeah, I've gotten to the point where I've had crippling anxiety and can't leave my room, can't get out of bed, because I'm just, for whatever reason, really scared of just the world. It's when you feel like you're not in control of stuff, and it took me. But the thing is, I also work with students. I work with a very adolescent age in terms of this stuff. And if I'm telling these people that they need to get help, then I told myself I need to get help. And but there is a pride thing I think with men's mental health too is like even like because the idea of medication was floated around, and I still had that pride in myself of like, no, I think I could do this myself. And um I do feel like there is that level of pride that men sometimes have, that they feel like they could just do everything. But if I could give anybody advice right now, there's nothing wrong with seeking a professional. They're unbiased. They're not there to get anything out of you except for maybe their paycheck. Outside of that, they're there to help. And I do feel like the strategies and stuff like that I've learned from therapy has helped me a lot. So
Definitely.
I do feel like we're at an age where men's mental health is accepted a little bit more, but it's still got a lot to work on in terms of being okay in terms of society. And it's not just like women looking at men's mental health, it's men looking at men's mental health.
That's the
And,
bigger one, I feel.
like telling people you have something going on, sometimes people think you're weak, and that's just the way it is. And so
yeah, I feel it's definitely stigmatized for sure, and it's been forever, right? And I also feel and agree with you that it's more of an older generation thing. It's like an old school way of getting brought up. Just like you said, I'm sure all three of us were raised that way. You know, boys don't cry. You know, like, hey, man up, blah blah blah. Like family members tell me, hey, oh, just man up, you know. And it's I just see Brian's thing switched to his emoji with the Clippers jersey.
every
That threw me off, dude.
every time something happens, I just assume it's me. So I'm
No,
just,
yeah.
every time there's a connection issue at all, you're just gonna see Brian.
The emoji.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man, I get sad, and just Brian's just like in a Clippers jersey. Yeah, no, I think it's definitely like the way this generation was raised, or like our generation, sort of like the 30s. And yeah, it's crazy, man, because you'll see neighbors, you'll see like older acquaintances, older friends, older family members that you have, like whether you're having a beer with them or you're just like chit chatting, and they'll be cracking jokes on like, oh man, this guy's a wussy, or like, oh, he it's like that type of mindset of like, oh, like you throw like a girl type of thing, and it's that same line of thinking though. That if you're like, man, I've been down lately, or like, oh man, I'm just not all there, or like I'm not feeling too well mentally, you get looked at differently from the older generation. And it's crazy because I think the older generation experiences it too, and I feel like they have trouble with anxiety and depression. It's just they repress it so bad that it probably hatches other problems that they experience that we don't experience. Because
I doubt. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I doubt anybody in my family. I doubt anybody in my family's gonna watch this. But like, I have a grandpa that served in Vietnam, and I could tell he has PTSD and never did anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, going based on your point, I do believe like, and I think that you see a lot of homeless vets, or you see a lot of people dealing with mental health issues who never got help and are now on their own. And luckily there is professionals out there to help, but some people don't seek it, and some people can't get it because of insurance or whatever. So
Depression, isn't that just a fancy word for bummed out? Oh, you guys don't know where that's from. Come on, guys.
No, I do. I'm trying to think though.
Come on, Dwight, you ignorant slut. Oh man.
Yeah, from
I'm going to put the clip on there. Yes.
I was just watching it right now too.
Yeah. Were you watching it though?
I know I heard that within the last month or so. That's why I was like,
so it's one of my favorite scenes. But yeah, I totally agree with you guys. For me though, I think there's got to be some sort of middle ground. I mean, obviously you want to, for instance, I have a son, so obviously I want to raise him to be, thick-skinned, not take everything personal. But also at the same time,
Steven looks at me right now.
I don't know where to look. Brian's chest is just popping out right there. So
it's distracting, right?
I'm gonna put myself on mute.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Like Brian just just sold like a bunch of properties on Florida, like on a Florida beachside area, or what?
Oh man, he caused the housing crash of 2008. So, like I said, I want to obviously raise my son to be thick-skinned, not take things personal, but still at the same time, express your feelings. It's okay, to feel certain ways because it's just normal. We're humans, and but crying, I don't know. I don't cry, so. I'm just kidding.
Dang, bad guy.
I told these guys a while back I don't really cry, and I don't know. Maybe it is because of the upbringing that I had. And even like when I go watch a movie or I see something sad, like I'm like mentally telling myself, you don't need to cry. It's not real. So, I mean, that's my struggle. But
you know what's crazy? I just, as a side note, I just had this conversation with someone, and like, I'm not necessarily a crier, and I can hold things together, and it sucks, like, coincidentally, obviously, like over the past weekend, we had a loss in the family. Had to go pay respects to my grandmother over the weekend, and so that's always like a storm of emotions, right? And I could usually like keep it together personally too, just because like so many things are running through my mind and my heart as I'm intaking everything. But when I see other people's reactions, right, whether it be that type of stuff, whether it be like a movie, so I'm like the opposite of Steven a little bit. When it's like a very, very sad part of a movie, like as a silly example, like a lot of the Avengers movies do a great job at like comedy, action, and then really tugging at your heartstrings towards the end. And like, dude, it gets me. I'm just like,
R.I.P.
oh,
Tony Stark.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like when I see other people's reactions to how they deal with it, that I guess I really empathize with that a lot more, and that gets me a lot closer to the waterworks.
That happened to us at Mike's funeral. I remember because we were doing a really good job of keeping it collected.
Yes. Yep.
We saw some people in Raider jerseys. We had a chuckle, and we were like, okay, this is Mike's funeral. This is all right. And then all of a sudden, people started talking, and it was just like,
yep, the speeches, and
I'll admit, I've cried a lot more as an adult than I ever did as a kid or a teenager.
That makes sense. Yeah. That's crazy.
You know who doesn't ever get depression?
Is it Batman?
How did you know?
Is it Batman? I hear this next Batman's pretty depressed though.
Yeah, he looks pretty sad.
Yeah, he has anxiety.
He used to be a vampire, so I'd be sad too.
Anxiety man.
He used to sparkle.
Anxiety man. He just sits at home.
He used to be a vampire.
So, how do you guys feel about the trailer for the new Batman movie coming out?
The Batman, dude, it looked pretty dope, man.
I don't know.
I think it looks really good, and because Joker was amazing, and I think if they could tie the universes somehow, I'm
all for it.
It could maybe be better than the Dark Knight series. I'm gonna say that right now.
And the Dark Knight series is one of the GOAT series, even just as a standalone.
It's my favorite superhero trilogy.
That was a Colin Coward. That was Colin.
That's my favorite.
That was Colin Coward-esque.
Damn.
I don't know. That's it.
Ash podcast
man.
Civil War.
If objectively, it's probably Marvel, just based on how they've been able to make 20 movies fit into one little thing. But obviously, like for me, just my favorite trilogy is
yeah, definitely the Dark Knight is amazing. But I think DC has already shot themselves in the foot too many times. It's like I feel like they mess up and then they want to go and redo the movie. You mess up, I go redo it. Suicide Squad, for instance.
I'll be honest with you. My hesitation is because of that though too. Is like the trailer looks good, the Joker was amazing, but DC has not given me a lot of confidence in the last decade or so. So you're onto something there.
I'm a little sad that Dwayne The Rock Johnson is going to be in the DC universe.
Adam.
Yeah, Black Adam.
Right.
Dude. Okay, so here's the thing. So I mean, I thought it was dope. I thought it was a dope trailer. Obviously, we'll see when the movie comes out, but it looks promising for sure. But man, so do you think, Steven, it is the prior knowledge of just DC like fumbling all the time why you're not looking forward to it, or is it the actual trailer itself?
A little bit of both. Obviously, you come in with, what you've experienced from DC, which I mean, like Brian said, the Joker was amazing. But other than the Joker, like they have not put out anything that I've been like really amazed by. They don't tie. I mean, they tried to tie the Justice League together, but I don't know. To me, that just seemed too cartoony. Like Marvel and the Marvel universe, it seems like real. Like that can be going on, somewhere around us. And like the DC universe, when they did the Justice League, it just seems so fake. Like
I'm gonna tell you this right now, though, and it's got a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes.
okay,
Doom Patrol on HBO Max and the DC Universe app, I believe. I don't know if that's still a thing anymore.
mm-hmm.
Doom Patrol, and it's a DC thing, is one of my favorite shows, and it might take over Daredevil in terms of my favorite superhero show because it's that good, and the character development is amazing. And I haven't even finished season 1 yet, but I have a lot of faith that it's gonna finish on a strong note.
Damn. And this is why Brian can't hop on video games.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Hey, it's super good. Like, like my girlfriend will be, "You want to watch another episode?" And I'll be like,
Brian can't manage his time to hang out with his friends.
"No, I can't.
So,
I'd rather not. It's not that I can't. I'd rather not." But like, if you guys were to just based on the trailer, and how many side hugs would you give the trailer?
Out of 5.
out of 5, I'm gonna say 3 side hugs.
Okay.
5 out of
5.
side
I'm gonna
hugs.
give it 4 side hugs.
So that gives it a 4 out of 5 total. No.
Quick maths.
Quick maths.
Let's see this. I'm gonna get this so wrong.
English
So what
majors
is
are
that?
always
Is
the
that-
first one to try to
that-
guess the calculation.
Is that a 9? That's 12 out of 15, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that would be 4 total.
Mm.
All right.
All right.
4 out of 5 side hugs that we give the trailer so far. I actually like that they're going to take a younger Batman approach on this too. That's why I think Pattinson, is that how you
Robert
say it?
Pattinson. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's why I think they actually made a good call. I was a little skeptical, and I
I
was
think
like,
we all were.
and I was like, do we really need like 17 Batman movies or 17 Batman appearances in like 15 years? No, but I do have a lot of faith based on the Joker, and if this is a new Batman universe going forward, and they can't just drop the Justice League stuff, my faith is slightly restored, but we'll see.
I'm intrigued.
All right. Well, there you have it. We'll see what they deliver.
It's DiGiorno.
Do you guys want to you want me to show my chest hair again?
Yes, please.
Yes, before the video ends.
Dang, dude, that chest hair is aggressive, fam.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's
wild.
it's kind of there.
That was very
Am I-
awkward.
When it renders, it might not appear.
Oh man.
That's awkward.
It ends up looking like a Minecraft field.